Hello everyone, this is Jason from Primetime Aquatics, and in this video we are really excited to bring you a fish room that is actually in a laundry room. I know a lot of times on YouTube we see these gigantic fish rooms filling up an entire basement or even a warehouse. And for people who live in smaller spaces, it's hard to imagine a fish room in a small area. But in this video, we're going to be bringing you a fish room that is in a small area, but there's still so many cool fish to see. Mario, thank you so much for having us out, for letting us see your fish room. I think you're going to enjoy it, so stay tuned. And as a quick side note, if you want to see more of the fish room we're about to show you, check out Creative Pet Keeping. I will put their YouTube channel in the description below. They've got more of Mario's fish room from a different perspective, so check that out if you're interested. So this is the view as soon as you walk into the house. We're not quite in the fish room yet. This is Cichlid. These are the Pike cichlids. What I find interesting about this tank, this was a very large tank, certainly over 200 gallons. We are often told that the Pike cichlids do well on their own, but not well with one another and not well with other fish. And here we can see an example where the aggression has been managed very, very well. What I like about this tank is we're not seeing any fin nipping, no one's hiding in a corner, no one's being bullied. These fish seem to be getting along really well in this setup. These are magnificent fish. They were quite large, easily over a foot long, showing fantastic color as you can see here. Now these are predatory fish, so again, you do have to exercise some caution. A lot of the things that you hear on the internet about them being aggressive and eating other fish, that is certainly true, but I like this tank because it shows you that once again, in the right setup, these fish can really look stunning, and as a centerpiece fish tank in a living room, it really looks quite nice. Now as we venture on into the fish room, one of the things that I think is so cool that you're going to see in a moment is this is a fish room that's in a very small space. So for those of us, or for those of you who have a small space but want to keep multiple tanks, what you're going to see in this fish room is really a great use of space, both vertical space and horizontal space. So as we head downstairs, we can see that Mario is a very accomplished aquarist. He has gotten lots of awards, lots of Breeder of the Years. One of the things that I appreciate being part of the GCCA with him is when he brings in fish, when he's bred fish and he brings them in, they are always top quality fish, really good genetics and really good health. I've had excellent luck with everything that he's brought in. And as we're going to see, he's got some unusual fish, some uncommon fish, which is going to be pretty cool. Now let's go ahead and we'll venture into the actual fish room, and you can see it is in a laundry room and there's not a lot of space here, but as I've already mentioned, we're going to begin to appreciate how much you can do with very little space. And I think that this might be more common for a lot of people who watch YouTube, is maybe they are limited in the amount of space that they have, but they want to keep multiple tanks. This is a really good example. He's got a lot of systems in place that make this easier. He does have an auto water change system that helps regulate the water parameters and the water quality. And we'll also see as we go through the fish room tour, he uses a mix of sponge filters and hang on the back filters. I think almost every tank had a sponge filter. The hang on the back filters are more for the tanks that are a little bit more heavily stocked, and when you have cichlids, usually that's going to help in reducing the amount of aggression that we see. Here we see some Tropheus and some Triticefalus. These are really cool fish, Lake Tanganyikan fish, and as those of you who have watched the channel know, I really do like Lake Tanganyikan fish, and so it's always nice to see some setups. And a lot of the Lake Tanganyikan fish that are brought into the club are bred by Mario, and we can see here tanks are in great shape. They are kept very, very clean, and again, we've talked about this before. Keep as many tanks as you can where you can maintain them easily and you actually enjoy the process. And I like something else that he's done here. You're going to see in a number of tanks there are some real plants mixed in with some fake plants. It's a look that I don't mind. It's something that I've done a few times in some of my tanks, and I still do in a couple of my tanks, where you want to add a little bit more greenery, maybe something that's going to grow or look a little bit larger than, let's say, an Anubias or a Krib, but some of the fish are going to be digging stuff up. So maybe you can glue the Anubias to wood or to rocks. Same thing with Java fern, but if you want some taller plants, maybe use fake plants in the background, and then it really does kind of give a nice look. Again, I like this tank because this is another Lake Tanganyikan tank with some Compressiceps. And this is a Julidochromis regani, the dark form, the black form. It's a nice looking fish. You can see how dark it gets even though it's on a lighter substrate. Here again, there's that compressiceps, and for those of you who have kept them before, you know they take a really long time to grow out and to grow up and to breed. So it's kind of an accomplishment when you actually get them to breed. These are fish from Madagascar. These are Madagascar cichlids. I like them. There are many different types. A lot of them are pretty aggressive, so you have to manage the aggression. That can be a challenge at times. But when you can do that and you can get them to breed, it's a really cool thing. A lot of them get quite large as well. The other thing I like that he's done is he does mix in some non-cichlids with his cichlids, and I do that too, and I found more and more people do that, even though the internet says you shouldn't. Here we've got some rainbow fish. You're going to see later on that he's got some endlers that he uses as dither fish that don't get picked on. The cichlids kind of ignore them. But it's something that we do quite commonly, but often, the purists will say, oh, you can't do that. You can't mix cichlids with non-cichlids. It can be done, and it can be done without anybody getting in any, trouble or fin nipping or dying. You can see here is a really good example. Here we've got some Thrychtes maculopinus. I've had these fish before. I've bred them. They're really cool. They're kind of like fire mouse. Here we've got some angelfish that have been bred. Really nice looking fish. We can see here again, that bucket that you see at the top is actually for fry. Now here we've got some waru in with some pike cichlids. This was a nice tank. It was a big tank. Everybody's kind of getting along pretty well. You can see once again, we don't have a lot of fin nipping. We don't have anybody getting chased into a corner. So it really is about managing aggression. When it comes to that, it's years and years of experience knowing which fish to add, which combinations can work out okay. And that takes time. It's not something I would recommend. Somebody just go out and buy some pike cichlids, some waru. I think I saw a Geophagus up there somewhere. Throw them all together and everything will be fine. That's not always the case. But in this particular instance, it's working out just fine. Now this was a tank with an unusual combination. Now we can see Cyprichromis leptosoma, and we've got our Lamprologus ocellatus, gold ocellatus. I've done species profiles on both of these fish. I will put them in the description below as well as in the upper right hand corner. If you want to learn more about some of the fish you see here today, check out the description. I'll have more information for you there. But this was a really interesting tank because here you've got rainbow fish, you've got a whole bunch of different types of Lake Tanganyikan fish, the Cyprichromis, the gold ocellatus, and yet once again they're getting along. I suspect the rainbow fish were in here originally as dither fish because some of these Lake Tanganyikan fish can be kind of shy, especially at first. I know when I had Cyprichromis at first, they kind of hid. The gold ocellatus would hide a little bit, and this worked out okay. I really like this tank as well. This is Geophagus weinmilleri. I've had these in the past. These are really pretty fish, especially when they get larger. They're going to get to be 8-10 inches. They're going to have beautiful long trailers to their fins and some of the best color that Geophagus can possibly have. The episto in this tank is also pretty cool. Now in this next tank, we've got more Geophagus. Really cool. This is Megasema, another really pretty Geophagus. Lots of colors, lots of spangling. It's something that it takes a little while. We've talked about this before. I keep a lot of Geophagus in my fish room. A lot of them take patience. Maybe outside of Geophagus brasiliensis, a lot of them take a while to color up. But if you wait and you have that patience, it really turns out well. Here is, again, a use of a sponge filter and some fake plants. I like dichrosis a lot. Perhaps the biggest challenge, at least for us in this area, is water parameters. Often to get them to breed, you need softer water with a lower pH, and that can be hard to do when you've got Chicago water, so sometimes you have to mix in some RO and get those water parameters correct for them to breed. But as you can see, it is a very rewarding fish. They're really pretty calm. You can see that they were in there with some endlers. Not a big problem. Here we've got some more epistos, again in with some guppies and some endlers, and it's working out just fine. It's a good use of a mix of fish where it'll allow the epistos or the dichrosis or whatever we're doing, it will allow them to come out a little bit more and not feel like they are going to be in trouble. And we can see here the use of endlers to do the same thing with some Julidochromis. These are really cool fish. The Bifrenatus, I like these a lot. And one of the things I am really impressed with as we go around this fish room is how clean it is. The glass is clean, the decorations are clean, the substrate is clean, and I think that just shows the systems that are in place with the auto water change system, as well as just regular tank maintenance, can really keep these tanks in excellent shape, even though you're in a smaller area. Kind of disappointed in myself here. I actually don't know what these are. I didn't pick it up on any of the labels. Whatever they are, there's probably some eggs in that little structure over there. You can see the female on the left and the male on the right, and he's guarding, and the female is chasing fish and other things away, but definitely in breeding dress. Definitely there's something of value in that cave, maybe even some little tiny fry, but don't know what they are, but they're really cool looking fish. So this fish coming up might have been my favorite in the fish room. It is kribensis. I absolutely love this fish. It's not a terribly uncommon fish, although this particular strain is a little bit less common than some of the other ones that you'd see out there. But I'm curious, as you've gone through and you've looked at this fish room, what was your favorite fish? I would love to hear from you in the comments section below. Is there something that really stood out to you, something you really enjoyed? For me, it's definitely this guy, and we've got the female right there. I've already got my out. If those things breed, I would love, hopefully they wind up back in the club as a BAP, because these guys are really cool. Again, not a super, uncommon fish, but really pretty, something that you could keep in a smaller tank, like maybe this tank here was a 10-gallon. For a pair, it's working just fine, but certainly a 20-gallon, 20 long. These are really pretty fish. Just love looking at them. And here we had a little 2.5-gallon tank, raw tank. I think these might have been Severum. I don't remember, but nice use of a little 2.5-gallon with some moss. And this is Thrychtes aureus. It's kind of like a firemouth sort of cichlid with slightly different colors. Really cool. Nice that they're growing up and starting to look good already. So this was Mario's Fish Room. I hope you enjoyed it. It was really cool seeing a fish room in such a small place. If you did enjoy it, share, subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.